things that I find so inspiring about him is that he doesn't paint just one particular theme. He can do anything.
He has such detail. He's pretty meticulous with his technique. Not only the detail, but the richness in color.
The way he paints, Ed is almost in the style of the old masters.
I'd call Ed a Renaissance man.
First, I heard it on the radio, and I thought, oh, I can't believe what's going on in our country today. I mean, this is just horrible. The next day, I got to thinking, well, what can I do as an artist to help these poor survivors? I spent most of my life in Columbus, Ohio until I moved to Arizona. By the time I was 14, I was doing wall murals in people's homes. I was lettering on trucks, cars, doing pinstriping, airbrushing, all the crazy things that went on back during that period of time. I would race motorcycles. I like building motorcycles. I like street rods. I built a couple street rods. And I'll take them clear down to the bare frame, and I'll start from scratch all the way back up. I'll modify them. I'll get different engines from other vehicles, and I'll make it the way I think it should look. After high school, I went into the service. I joined the Marine Corps, went in there. I signed up for a 2-year stint. After the Marine Corps, I went to work into advertising as an illustrator. And then after a period of time, I just got tired of it. It's the same old thing, deadlines, deadlines. So it got to the point I said, I don't care for this. I'm going to get into doing fine arts.
Ed brings a lot to the table. He's one of the artists that is amazing in a sense that that's all he lives for. And his genre, he's one of the best there is as far as living artists go. I'm honored to have him in the gallery.
Ed is complex, and Ed changes all the time. His work gets better. His work is unique and different. He's also a guy that's, he's an artist that's not afraid to do something different.
The lovely Tempe Center for the Arts opened in 2007, and we've been doing exhibitions in our gallery space ever since. We have an upcoming one on copper. Ed's works on copper, they just have a glowing appearance. I think they're very special, they're very intimate, but also nobody's doing that anymore. You know, it's an old technique that he is making new again.
The oil on copper, I love that. There are not many artists that even want to handle that. It's not like you and I going out to the art store and buying tubes of paint and, you know, just putting it on copper. There's a lot of technical work involved. I know he mixes a lot of his own paint. There's egg yolks involved, egg tempera work. He's able to put it together, and he's masterful at that.
I'm working on some coppers right now. I'm doing 6 panels for the Tempe Center of the Arts. They asked me if I would put a copper painting in, and when I talked to the director, I said, well, I have an idea. Why don't I show the process from start to finish on how copper paintings are done? And they love the idea, and I'm recording step by step the whole process on this, and I'm even making the frame that all of the little paintings will go inside of. Most of my paintings have figurative work in it, and I go to a lot of events like the Renaissance, Indian powwows. I do special photo shoots with some of the people that I know that in the movie industry. I like telling a story with my painting. I'm always out looking for reference. I'm always looking for models.
I had gotten a call from one of the galleries in Scottsdale, and so I set up an appointment to go in, and Ed just happened to be there because he was an artist that displayed his work at this particular gallery. And so I gave him one of my business cards, and I think within a week or two he called and said that he was working on some paintings and wanted to know if I'd be interested in posing for him to do those particular paintings. We would usually do like a photo shoot, and then he would paint from the pictures that he took.
When I was about, I think, 12 or 13, my grandma says, "You know, your great-great-grandfather was an artist too." And I go, "Really?" So she's the one that first told me about my great-great-grandfather, John Singleton Copley. So from that point on, I looked it up and did some research and found out that we were related and everything. And it's like, wow, this is so neat. And over time, I felt that my capabilities were to the point where I could copy some of his work, which I wanted to do for my own personal reason. And I was given the opportunity to go to the Temkin Museum in San Diego, California. They allowed me to bring my easel in, set up. They roped off the room where I could copy one of his paintings it was Mrs. Thomas Gage. So it was awesome that I could go in there and do that. And I spent the day in the museum working on the painting, and I just treasure that painting. It hangs in my home now. It's not for sale. After the Boston bombing that took place, after seeing that on the news and thinking about it, and it's like, wow, what could I do as an artist to help these poor people out? And then I thought, wow, my great-great-grandfather's painting's in the Boston Museum, Watson and the Shark. And it is one of their main attractions where people come to see that at the museum. I thought, well, I wonder if I could do a copy of that painting, but at a smaller scale, and use that as a fundraising to help the survivors from the bombing. He was commissioned by Watson, who was swimming in the harbor in Havana. Well, he decided he wanted to take a swim in the harbor. Well, he was attacked by a shark. The shark bit him once on his right leg. The shark swung around, come back, and bit off the whole lower part of his right leg. And then the shark was going to make a third strike, but in the meantime, his shipmates were jumping off the boat, getting in another little boat to come over and try to save him and help him, which they did. They did save him, get him out of the water, took him to town. They had to amputate part of his leg, put on a wooden leg and so forth. But he went on to become very successful. I felt it was a good tie-in with the Boston bombing because life's not over after a tragedy like this. And I felt this is the right piece, the right thing to do. We lost a limb or something, but we can go on, we can survive, and we can be successful.
I've known Ed for about a year and a half. I first met him because he was a member of the International Guild of Realism. The members of the Realism Guild really thought it was important for us to meet Ed because he's really made an impact on the realism community. You know, his Hiawatha series, I think, is also going to elevate him on the map because of the scale of the project. Ed is at the top of his game.
He has a sensitivity, I think, that shows through in his work. He brings his artwork to life as if they were real people and real situations, and that you can appreciate.
He just puts so much humanity into his paintings. He told us he gets about 4 hours of sleep a night because his brain is constantly going, always creating.
He doesn't do just Westerns. He doesn't do just classical, art. He can do anything. Yeah, I think he's an absolutely fabulous artist.
In the next few years, I'd like to get to the point where I don't have to work so hard and do so many paintings every year. I'm not getting any younger, and I'm starting to cut back. I want to enjoy more time with my family, be able to travel a little bit more, where I've been a workaholic for the last 20-some years, and I'm to the point now I can be a little more picky. I want to pick some subjects that I've been wanting to do for years. So I'm going to start heading in that direction. I'm not worried about if it sells or not. It's something I want to record, something I want to leave behind, some story I want to tell. That's important. I wanted to be an artist from the time I was a kid, and to me, it's not a job. I love it. I can do it 7 days a week. It's a passion. I get up, I'm thinking about it. I go to bed, I'm thinking about it, and I'm always Researching, reading, I spend a lot of time reading. I do not watch a lot of TV or go to movies. I'd rather spend my time researching, getting ideas for more paintings. And I don't care what the subject is, I dive into it all the way, and I have to know everything about it in order to execute a perfect painting. After all of my years of study, I'd kind of like to pass it on to that next generation of artists coming up. That's why, to me, it's important now to produce some manuals and some books to share what I know, what I've learned, and hopefully it'll help some new artists coming up.